mioyo yenu yote, lakini hata sasa asema Bwana, nirudieni mimi kwa mioyo yenu yote, lakini hata sasa asema Bwana, nirudieni.
Capuchin TV.
Forward ever, backward never. Let us move ahead and so on. Even children, kuna kakitu tunaweza kufanya ili kanisa iweze kumetameta.
Endelea kutazama Capuchin TV, kitambulisho Katoliki.
Naam, masala heri mpenzi mtazamaji, natumai ubuheri wa afya, ikiwa hii leo ni tarehe 4 Machi mwaka 2026. Moja kwa moja taarifa hizi zinakujia mbashara kutokea jiji kuu la Nairobi, ukiwa ni mji mkuu wa Kenya. Taarifa hizi zinakujia kwa lugha ya Kiswahili, ikiwa ni idhaa ya Kiswahili ya Katoliki ya Afrika Mashariki na Kati. Leo hii ikiwa ni siku ya Jumatano saa 1 usiku, nina wageni, kwa hivyo ina maana kwamba katika chungu cha mdahalo tutakuwa tunadadavua masuala ya vurugu au kipenda violence, na ndani ya chumba hiki chetu cha habari nina wageni, wakili mwenye uzoefu mkubwa na tajriba zaidi ya miaka 40, Daktari Wakili Joy Babu, karibu sana. Asante. Nashukuru. Vile vile pia tunaye wakili Natasha Gasheri ambaye anashughulikia na masuala ya utatanishi wa usuluhishi wa migogoro. Asante mtazamaji. Mwanzo kabisa tuanze na muhtasari wa habari.
Let us strive to be authentic witnesses of the love of Christ, so that all can recognize in us and among us the charity that characterizes true Christians and builds up the church.
Next month tunaanzisha National Infrastructure Fund. Hiyo National Infrastructure Fund ni ya kufungua barabara za Kenya za kutosha. Yeah.
Wakati tunapostaafu kuna matapeli ambao huja ya kwamba wanaweza tusaidia tukapata pensheni kwa haraka, na wengi huwa wanatutapeli. Kwa hivyo ningependa kumuhimiza mwalimu ya kwamba follow the right channels, na hiyo pension itakuja, kwa sababu najua ulijipanga. Kwa hiyo pension itakuja pia kwa wakati wake.
Swadakta, jina langu ni Alan Ndiva, mwenzangu wa lugha ishara ni Charity Ngima, na tunafungua taarifa zetu kutokea Vatican. Papa Leo wa 14 alitoa wito wa dhati wa sala na mshikamano na watu wa Ukraine, akisitiza kuacha silaha na kuendeleza mazungumzo ya amani. Hadhira hiyo pia ilihudhuriwa na wajumbe wa kimataifa wa siku ya 12 ya sala na tafakari dhidi ya biashara ya binadamu.
Dear brothers and sisters, in our continuing catechesis on the Second Vatican Council, today we consider the mystery of the human and divine dimensions of the Church as presented by the dogmatic constitution Lumen Gentium. Just as Jesus' humanity was immediately apparent to those who walked by his side, so too the human dimension of the Church is easy to perceive. It is a community of men and women who, with their gifts and their flaws, seek to proclaim the gospel within a visible structure. Those who followed Jesus more closely, however, recognized that his humanity, his loving gaze, his merciful gestures, and his powerful word manifested his divinity, which led them to salvation. In a similar way, through the visible and human dimension of the Church, the Spirit of Christ and his saving action are present and active in the world. Let us strive to be authentic witnesses of the love of Christ, so that all can recognize in us and among us the charity that characterizes true Christians and builds up the Church. I greet all the English-speaking pilgrims and visitors taking part in today's audience, particularly the groups from England, India, the Philippines, Singapore, Vietnam, the United States of America. With prayerful good wishes that this Lent will be a time of grace and spiritual renewal for you and your families, I invoke upon all of you joy and peace in our Lord Jesus Christ.
Naam, watu wawili wamefikishwa katika mahakama ya Thika wakabiliwa na shtaka la kuiba pikipiki katika eneo la Makongeni, Thika Magharibi. Jambo hili lilitokea tarehe 23 Februari mwaka 2026. Pikipiki hiyo inamilikiwa na kampuni ya watu wa Credit Limited. Nelly Jemtai na Cecily Kiplimo walikana mashtaka mbele ya hakimu kazi mwandamizi Frederick Kome. Waliachiliwa kwa dhamana ya shilingi 200,000 au pesa taslim kiasi kama hicho. Kesi hiyo itatajwa Aprili 10 na kusikilizwa Juni 30 mwaka 2026. Tukio hilo linajiri huku visa vya wizi wa pikipiki vikiongezeka nchini.
Kesi yenu utasikizwa koti namba 4 tarehe 30 mwezi wa 6 mwaka huu. Mtaitika tarehe 10 mwezi wa 4. Mmepewa kila mtu mmoja wenu bond 200,000. Hiyo ni ile tunatafuta mtu ambaye ako na title ama logbook. Kama sio hivyo unalipa cash bill 200,000. Na mtapewa stakabadhi na kiongozi taarifa kufanya kesi. Supplied with statements and a copy of the charge sheet. Each of them is admitted to a bond of 200,000 shillings with a surety of a similar amount, or alternative cash bill of 200,000 shillings. Matter is mentioned on 10th of April in court number 4, hearing on 30th.
Na kwingineko, mtazamaji, naibu wa rais Kithure Kindiki amekagua ujenzi unaoendelea wa barabara ya mto Mwagodi Msau Mwangea ambayo inapita Mbale Wandanyi na Werunga Mgange Bura, ikiwa ni eneo la Bura katika eneo la Msau, kaunti ya Taita Taveta. Barabara hiyo yenye urefu wa kilomita 55 inajengwa kwa kiwango cha lami kwa gharama ya shilingi bilioni 2.1. Hata hivyo, naibu rais ameonyesha kutoridhishwa kwake na kasi ya ujenzi huo.
Mwangea, Mbale, Undanyi, Veruga, Mgange, Bura. Barabara hiyo inayojengwa katika eneo la Msau, kaunti ya Taita Taveta. Mradi huo wa thamani ya shilingi bilioni 2.1 ni sehemu ya shilingi bilioni 15.6 zilizotengwa kwa ajili ya ujenzi wa barabara kote kaunti.
Para mpya kwa sababu tuko na pesa National Infrastructure Fund. Hiyo National Infrastructure yeah, so that kila sehemu ya Kenya uchukuzi uwe rahisi, uchumi uinuke, wananchi wapate kazi, wafikishe mazao yao sokoni, tujenge taifa letu la Kenya. Hamu namna gani?
Akizungumza na wakazi pamoja na viongozi wa kaunti ya Taita Taveta, naibu rais Profesa Kithure Kindiki amemwagiza mwanakandarasi kuharakisha kazi hiyo, akibainisha kuwa tangu mwaka 2021 ni kilomita 5 pekee zilizowekwa lami.
Mei mwezi wa 5 2025 ndio umerudi hapa. Today ni 2026. Kilomita ni 5. Tukienda na high speed barabara utatengeneza do this side, ufanye pande hii na pande ile nyingine. Wende pale kutoka Undanyi, uteremke Mgange, uteremke Weruga, Weruga, Mgange, Tubura. Na muanze next week, mimi nitarudi. Sio ati nimeenda nini. Mimi nitarudi hapa next week. Nitarudi hapa next week.
Aidha, amesema serikali ina fedha za kutosha kukamilisha barabara zote za kaunti ya Taita Taveta na hata maeneo mengine ya nchi.
Serikali imelipa hawa contractors wetu pesa yao, madeni yote. Hapo awali ilikuwa imekwama kwa sababu tulikuwa na madeni mingi sana.
Barabara hiyo inatarajiwa kuchochea ukuaji wa uchumi, kurahisisha usafiri na kuimarisha biashara katika maeneo ya Mwatate na Undanyi mara itakapokamilika. Kutoka kaunti ya Taita Taveta, jina langu ni Gabriel Mokoma.
Naam, taifa la Kenya linaendelea kupanua masoko ya mauzo ya nje katika Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, Marekani, Uingereza na Ulaya, huku ikipanga kutia mkataba makubaliano ya biashara na Uchina. Akizungumza mjini Murang'a, katibu mkuu wa uwekezaji alisema hatua hiyo itachochea ukuaji wa viwanda, huku gavana wa Murang'a akiongezea kuwa hafla hiyo au ujenzi huo utawasaidia wenyeji wa kaunti hiyo.
Akizungumza katika sherehe ya kuanzishwa kwa kiwanda cha kwanza cha uwekezaji katika hifadhi ya viwanda vya Murang'a, katibu mkuu wa uwekezaji Hassan Abubakar aliwahimiza wawekezaji wa ndani kuangalia fursa za kimataifa, akibainisha kuwa bidhaa za Kenya zitapata upatikanaji wa kutoza ushuru na ukomo wa idadi katika masoko haya, jambo linalounda mazingira mazuri ya ukuaji.
Creating jobs for our youth is through industrial jobs, and that is why we are building these industrial parks to be able to attract industrial investors to set up industries here and create jobs for our youth. But most importantly, when these industries are set up, most of their raw material, they have to get it from our local communities. Yeah. So because we are attracting investment that with backward integration into as input to their processes. So that one will also create us a market for our farmers and for the source of raw material that is we have here in Murang'a County and Kenya as large.
Katibu huyo vile alifichua kuwa Kenya inatafuta kuimarisha uhusiano wa kibiashara na China, moja ya nchi zenye idadi kubwa za watu duniani, na kueleza kuwa mpango ya kusaini makubaliano ya kuuza nje inayorahisisha upatikanaji wa bidhaa za viwanda zinazotengenezwa Kenya ipo katika hatua za kimaendeleo. Gavana wa Murang'a Irungu Kang'ata alishukuru kuanzisha kwa hifadhi hiyo ya viwanda, akisema kuwa itaunda ajira za maana hasa kwa vijana.
But most importantly, once they get the raw material, acting as a market for the raw material by our farmers and creating the industrial jobs for our youth, we want, once they produce, we want them or encourage them not only to sell to the Kenyan market, but to sell to the export market.
It is now coming here, creating what we call objective employment, which will ensure it is sustainable. The only thing I urge these manufacturers is to ensure you export. It is very important. Don't just target Kenyan market.
Washiriki wengine walibainisha kuwa kama taifa lenye uchumi wa kilimo, Kenya itafaidika sana kupitia ongezeko la thamani za bidhaa kupitia viwanda, na kuzingatia kuwa hifadhi ya viwanda itasaidia nchi kuhamia kutoka uzalishaji wa malighafi za kilimo pekee hadi kuuza bidhaa zilizokamilika nje.
The unique thing about this industrial park is the fact that it is located in an agricultural area. And as you know, Kenya has been losing up to 40% during post-harvest losses. So the impact is that we'll be able to utilize all our agri-resources, add value, and be able to export outside of the country as well as sell locally.
Nikiripotia Mtazamo Katoliki, jina langu ni Gifted Rapalo.
Na mamlaka ya kitaifa ya kampeni dhidi ya matumizi ya pombe na dawa za kulevya na kada imetoa wito kwa wazazi na viongozi wa jamii kushirikiana na serikali kukomesha biashara ya pombe haramu, hasa hasa karibu na shule na makazi. Akizungumza katika kituo cha polisi cha Kabati, kaunti ya Kitui, afisa Simon Mwangi alikariri ya kuwa operesheni ya wiki hii katika soko la Kabati lilinasa pombe haramu ya thamani ya zaidi ya shilingi milioni 5.
What we've also discovered is that this person is operating a wines and spirits shop and a bar very close to a secondary school, which is against the law. So we are going to be prosecuting the gentleman, and all other relevant government processes will apply. As NACADA and with other multi-agency teams, this is the second time we are conducting this kind of operations in Kitui County. And we've been able to net quite large volumes of counterfeited alcohol within this region, which, according to the information that we have, is one of the highly ranked counterfeiting hubs within the larger eastern region. So we are putting everybody on notice, and including the public, to always volunteer information in case they suspect that somebody is carrying out such unscrupulous activities, to share the information with us. And we are also requesting the public to be very vigilant, especially the people who consume these products, not to consume things that would have a negative effect on their health, and to always verify the contents of what they are consuming.
Naam, na kwenye taarifa nyingine, wito umetolewa kwa wazazi kuhakikisha wanagharamikia na kuweka fedha nyingi katika elimu ya wanao, licha serikali kusema kuwa elimu ni bure, kwani serikali pekee haiwezi. Haya ni kwa mujibu wa afisa wa uhakiki wa viwango vya ubora wa elimu katika kaunti ndogo ya Webuye Mashariki, Joseph Masingila, akizungumza katika hafla ya kustaafu kwa mwalimu mkuu wa shule ya msingi ya Nzoia, wadi ya Maraka, Madik Wanyama, ambapo alihoji ya kuwa elimu bora ni gharama, na japo serikali imeweka fedha, wazazi pia wana nafasi ya kujumuika, hasa kwa mtaala mpya huu wa elimu wa CBE.
Akizungumza wakati wa hafla ya kustaafu kwa mwalimu mkuu wa shule ya Nzoia, wadi ya Maraka, kwamba wanalipia wana kwamba elimu ya mtoto inaendelea vizuri.
Wanaosomesha sio ya kwamba wanavyo, la hasha, ni kujinyima. Wakati huu serikali imejaribu iwezekanavyo, imehakikisha kuna madaftari, kuna madarasa, kuna nini, kuna kila kitu ambacho mwanafunzi wa hitaji, na mpaka hata kuna mwalimu papa hapa shuleni. Kwa hivyo jukumu lako wewe mzazi ni kuhakikisha kwamba umemlete mtoto shuleni.
Baadhi ya walimu wakuu waliohudhuria hafla hiyo wakiongozwa na mwalimu mkuu wa shule ya msingi ya Nabuyole FYM Ayub Amuko na mwenzake wa shule ya msingi ya Webuye ACK Wycliffe Oduor wametaka walimu wanaostaafu kuwa makini na matapeli wanaotumia fursa hiyo kuwatapeli pesa zao za uzeeni, wakisifia utendakazi wa mwalimu aliyekuwa akistaafu.
Wakati tunapostaafu kuna matapeli ambao huja ya kwamba wanaweza tusaidia tukapata pensheni kwa haraka, na wengi huwa wanatutapeli. Kwa hivyo ningependa kumhimiza mwalimu ya kwamba follow the right channels, na hiyo pension itakuja, kwa sababu najua ulijipanga. Kwa hiyo pension itakuja pia kwa wakati wake, na nakuombea tu maisha mema.
Shule zote ambazo amekuwa ni mwalimu wa kufana na kuweza kushirikisha wenyeji na community nzima kwa kuweza kufanishisha shughuli za elimu. Tunataka kumshukuru na kumuomba anapoenda nyumbani aendeleze hizo sera za kuweza kuunganisha jamii na kufanyia kwa pamoja, ili kwa pamoja tuendeleshe elimu na masomo ya wananchi katika Bungoma County na Kenya mzima.
Tunaambia mwalimu Makdik hongera kufikisha miaka 60.
Kwa upande wake mwalimu huyo aliyekuwa akistaafu Makdik Wanyama amepongeza serikali kwa kumpa nafasi ya kuhudumu, huku akiwashauri walimu wachanga kuwa na subra wakati wanapotekeleza majukumu yao, jambo lililotiliwa mkazo na padri msaidizi wa parokia ya Webuye.
Mimi nafurahia kwa maana naenda nyumbani, naenda kupoa Mawaidha yangu kwa wale ambao bado walimu kwa shule, kuna vitu kadha wa kadha venye natakana wafuate, masharti ya policy, what call education policies, wafuate hizo. Na kuna changamoto nyingi sana kwa mambo ya elimu. So mwalimu asipovumilia then hatamaliza mwendo wake vizuri.
Kutufafanulia namna alivyoanza kazi yake when he was just newly employed akiwa mwalimu, ni mambo gani anayeweza kuwa amepitia. Let us leave alone the classroom. Tukiingia pia kule kwenye staff room, there are also challenges. These are human beings, and when you mingle with human beings, sometimes you meet challenges. Huenda mwalimu Macdick alipokuwa katika staff room, kuna wakati mwingine hakuwa na mahusiano mazuri na walimu wengine. Kuna walimu ambao wengine tu wanataka kuleta tu fujo kwenye staff room. Wakipangiwa kazi, anaomba tu udhuru kila wakati.
Ripoti kutoka Maraka, eneo bunge la Ubi Mashariki, kaunti ya Bungoma, jina langu Nelson Mianzini.
Na mtazamaji, taarifa hiyo kutoka Webuye inanipa fursa ya kupata kopa la maji, kisha tarejea kwa awamu ya pili na chungu cha mdahalo. Usiende mbali.
Nani alijenge kanisa lake Bwana? Nani alijenge kanisa lake Bwana? Nani alijenge kanisa lake Bwana? Ni nani ajenge kanisa?
A new chapter of faith, a new home for God's people, a new parish is born. The Catholic Diocese of Kisii, under the leadership of Bishop Joseph Mairura Okemwa, joyfully invites you to a historic celebration. The official opening of the 43rd parish in the name of Saint Teresa of Calcutta, Nyamokenye Parish. This sacred event will take place on Saturday, 7th March 2026 at St. Teresa of Calcutta Nyamokenye Parish, beginning with the Eucharistic celebration at 10 a.m. East African Time, presided over by Right Reverend Joseph Mairura Okemwa, Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Kisii. This milestone marks the tremendous growth of faith in the diocese, a powerful testimony of God's abundant blessings upon His people. Come witness the joy. Come celebrate the expansion of Christ's mission. Come be part of history. Can't make it in person? Join us live on Capuchin TV and across all our social media platforms. St. Teresa of Calcutta Nyamokenye Parish, a new light of faith in the Diocese of Kisii. Join us, celebrate with us, pray with us. Keep watching Capuchin TV, your staunchly Catholic identity channel.
Nani alijenge kanisa lake Bwana? Nani alijenge kanisa lake Bwana? Nani alijenge kanisa lake Bwana? Ni nani ajenge kanisa? Ni nani nauliza ni nani?
Mater Misericordiae Hospital, healing meets innovation. With advanced laparoscopic surgery, we offer patients a faster and safer path to recovery.
We do very small incisions using what we call keyhole surgery, and we introduce cameras into very small spaces and small holes that we also do, and introduce small gadgets that are able to do different kind of surgeries.
From gallbladder removal to infertility treatments and endometriosis care, our specialists treat conditions that once required open surgery.
Being able to currently do minimally invasive procedures that assure a patient of reduced length of stay in the hospital, reduced complications likelihood, that has been supported by the current infrastructure that we've set up in the hospital.
Mater Misericordiae Hospital. Excellence in care every step of the way.
Hujambo mtazamaji na karibu kwa awamu ya pili. Awamu ya pili ni awamu ya mdahalo, na ndani ya chumba hiki ninao wageni ambao mmoja wao ni Daktari Joy Babu, wakili mwenye uzoefu mkubwa ambaye ana tajriba zaidi ya miaka 40 akiwa ni wakili wa masuala ya familia na biashara. Daktari Joy Babu vile pia ni mtumishi wa Mungu, ordained minister, na vile pia anamiliki shirika moja ambalo linajulikana kama Amani Communities Africa. Hujambo na karibu daktari.
Asante sana.
Naam, asante. Vile pia ninaye Natasha Gasheri ambaye vile pia ni wakili ambaye anatatua masuala ya migogoro. Hujambo na karibu.
Asante sana.
Natumai mnaendelea vyema kitambo mkiwa hapa. Asante. Na mtazamaji, vurugu ni matumizi ya nguvu kinyume cha sheria dhidi ya mtu binafsi au kundi, na inayosababisha au ambayo inaongeza kusababisha jeraha, kifo, madhara ya kisaikolojia au ukosefu wa rasilimali. Inajumuisha ukatili wa kimwili, kingono, kisia na ukosefu wa usawa wa kijamii. Na hapa pamoja nami ninao wageni ambao watatusaidia kudadavua kwa kina kabisa masuala haya kina, na mtazamaji utaniruhusu tuchange ndimi ikiwemo tukitumia lugha ya Kiingereza. What are the factors that are leading to violence both at home and at the place of work?
Thank you so much, Alan.
Yes.
So violence tends to be very prevalent in our society today, but there are two key issues that people tend to think about, and it's domestic and workplace violence. So in domestic violence, it tends to occur in family settings and in intimate relationships or relationships that people have formed along the way. And in workplace, it tends to happen between either colleagues, the employee and the supervisor, or the workers and clients as well. Some of the factors that tend to cause violence in domestic could be substance abuse. It could be poor communication between the families. It could be lack of conflict management skills amongst them. It can also be power play, in a sense where someone wants to control the situation every time. In workplace, it tends to happen where there's no proper, how can I put it? There's no proper way of parties to report cases of harassment. The workplace culture also contributes a lot to that, where there is bullying, there is harassment, and the leaders in the workplace are not doing anything to support the workers as well.
Talking about substance abuse, let's say the setting and environment of the at home, what are the factors that triggers the perpetrators of that violence?
In one stance, it would be the upbringing and the exposure to the substance abuse as they were growing up. Second, it could also be financial stress that led them there, or peer pressure. It tends to occur in many forms. Also, just a lack of self-control as an individual and lack of accountability in what you do a lot of times leads to violence in cases of like someone drinking alcohol and not knowing how to handle their emotions in such cases.
And we have witnessed, even in our news, most of the time we have reported some of the effects that have occurred. Dr. Joy, what are some of these effects of violence on the victims?
Okay, Alan, before I answer that one, I must commend you for allowing us to come to talk about this important subject, because we are living in such a broken society. So it's so important that you have found it fit for us to come and think together the causes and also the effects, because the effects are so rampant. We are seeing them everywhere. There's so much violence in the society, and because of that, we have broken relationships everywhere. And when the relationships are fractured like that, then we find separation has happened. People have gone their different ways. If it is business, it has crumbled down into pieces. There is insecurity. There is no safety in society. There is unhappiness, and hopelessness. And that lack of safety also is bringing very serious psychological problems, especially to the children, because they are becoming very, very fearful. They do not know what the future holds for them. And therefore, you find a very high level of desperation and also even depression. And because it has also affected not just the social fabric, but also the economic fabric, you find that businesses are going down, so people cannot effectively work and bring income that is sustainable to the families. So the brokenness has really a complete bad negative effects on the society.
With the experience of over like 40 years as a lawyer dealing with matters of family, at what rate, at what percentage out of 100 will you rate the violence in our societies?
Research has shown that because it's also there's a gender part of it. If we are talking about domestic violence, research shows that 1 out of 3 women report having been abused in one way or another in the family, or what Natasha is calling intimate settings. There is less research on the level that it has affected the men, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is equal, because men are not forthcoming in reporting cases of domestic violence. But also for the children, they report that 1 in 5 children have suffered violence in the family. At the workplace, it is a little less, because quite a number of workplace spaces have maybe policies that have reduced it a little bit more. So the statistics there are maybe 1 in 20 could report having experienced serious violence at the workplace. Yeah. And how will you tell the symptoms or sign that this person is undergoing a certain form of violence, though they have not reported? The main one that you will see is productivity. Productivity will come down when a person has been undergoing violence, especially psychological violence. So you'll find some level of distress, some level of depression, and basically unwillingness to step forward and be creative. The creativity goes down, and people just want to be on their own. You find isolation. You find that unhappiness. Those are some of the symptoms you begin seeing at the workplace. Then absenteeism, people not showing up for work, and when they show for work, they are not able to be productive at work. And also now they are causing more violence at the workplace, because like we say, wounded people wound others. So you find that that has spread also in the workplace, and you find a lot of rumor mongering and a lot of gossiping at the workplace, and all these other factors of very high turnover in the workplace. So the effects are economic, social, and also now personal and family. Yeah.
Now, Natasha, In Kenya, we've got communities, for example, northeastern communities or western communities. You find even the judges of Kenya have always suggested that the best way to solve these problems is through community setup, like elders coming together and sitting. Do you think that one has worked?
Yes, Alan, it's working perfectly right now. A lot of people have started opening up to the idea of traditional justice systems. We can see the courts have supported it. They've opened up 3 already. There's Isiolo, there's Kajiado, and there's in Nakuru as well. And that's where elders can go and solve community matters at large. Also, most like our center, we train on community and peace building dialogue, and I think it is an important thing for communities to get sensitized about how to handle conflicts and how to manage them as well.
Daktari, I know you are a parent. These cases related to gender-based violence at what rate do they happen in Kenya? Because and how possible is it to reunite the couple that has already separated because of such a violence?
Thank you for that question, Alan. There is extensive breakdown in families. We used to see that happening in the West, where even as at the point of marriage, they will say maybe 50% will sustain, and another 50% might go into separation and divorce. And those statistics are now here with us in Kenya. So they are quite high and alarming. And like Natasha said, if I could add to that, we must look beyond the courts for answers. We must look to other institutions, and especially African-based solutions, as well as our own spirituality and faith, to find solutions beyond the courts so that we can arrest what is happening now and see whether we can revert to sustained, strong families, because they are the foundation of society.
Doctor, just talk about recommended ways in which we can handle this violence in a community.
Thank you, Alan. The starting point, if you asked me, would be to go to the root causes. The root causes, like Natasha said earlier, why people are going to substance abuse and other indisciplines is because of lack of hope, if I may put it that way. We need to address economic issues. We need to address unemployment. We need to address issues like how do we get the youth to be sustainably engaged in our communities when they leave school. We need to address the family settings. What's going on in our families? How do we have good communication, like Natasha talked about? Intergenerational conflicts are major in the families. Children not understanding parents, parents not understanding their children because of the generational drift and disconnection. Social media also has come in, made the situation worse because there's a lot of influence from the West and so forth about ways that are not working for us. And I like it that in your studio, when I listen to your news, you have brought a lot of positive news, and I wish more stations would be doing that, because you are setting a good example about the things which are happening in society, and that what we hear is what we tend to practice. But if the news is all about violence and all the things that have gone wrong, then the mind also begins to think that's how the entire society is. So if media also can do what you're doing, set the pace in bringing us positive stories of people doing good and great things with positive social impact in the community, that's setting already a very good precedent and a very good psyche to the society. Because as we are now, the psyche is also very violent-based. You know, everyone is thinking, let's meet in court, I'll slap you, I'll hit you, I'll do all, because that's what we are thinking is the normal. But we need to change and begin thinking. The normal is holding conversations, if someone is not communicating with the other well, can they sit and talk? And that's why, like Natasha said, we have dialogues and conversations in our center, and we build the skills of people to learn how to communicate with each other, how to listen to each other, because there's a lot of talking but no listening. People need to feel understood, people need to feel respected, and also, how do we engage faith? How do we demonstrate hope? It is by bringing examples of people in the past and even present ones who are very good examples of how to engage even in social change in positive ways. Because we also train in nonviolent communication, where you can be able to air your views even assertively without being aggressive. So we need to minimize aggressive ways of talking, aggressive, and also running away from reality by going drinking, and instead have a conversation with your partner, with your child, with your parents, and that way then we move from a culture of violence to a culture of peace and positive conflict resolution in our society.
Thank you, Daktari. Natasha, we have got education and awareness, and also you've got community involvement. Combining the two, how possible are they in helping in minimizing the rate of violence in our community?
Thank you, Alan. Education and awareness creates a pathway for everybody to understand that there are different models of resolving disputes other than going to court or other than fighting or committing violence. With community engaging in the education and awareness, it's possible to spread, like you said, awareness, and it's possible to have communities create safety nets for people to express their views, come report as well for any violence that's happening, create a safety net for removing stigma, if I may put it.
Dr. Joy Babu, we have got faith and values. How does the church come in resolving some of these disputes?
Alan, the church has always been the prophetic voice in bringing the right values to society. I have just listened to the news here about the Pope, reminding us the importance of values like joy, peace, love, hope. And we have the human potential to give those values. They are high energy values, as we call them. Because if I'm operating from a place of love, then you come and hit me, I will do what Jesus said, because those are the values that we are talking about. Instead of hitting you back and revenging, I will ask, what did I do to you? You know, or I will step away and go and look for another way of handling the dispute. Faith also brings hope in society. There's so much hopelessness and helplessness in today's society because people are just having such a negative mood. But faith comes to bring the aspect of having hope in a better future. And so we as faith practitioners need to continue to take people on the path of healing. Because like we said earlier, there's so much trauma in society. And when there's trauma like that, any little trigger, that's why you find road rage, you find people, I trigger you a little by just calling you out, and that becomes a very violent scenario. So how do we bring down people to tell them to be calm? How that is what faith is supposed to do. Because we are saying, be still, calm down, listen, you know, observe silence, walk away from a violent situation. Do not hit back. Do not revenge. Do not cause someone to become angry with you. Run towards settling. Run towards restoration and reconciliation. And faith Alan, from the African perspective also is very, very strong, because restoration is a key one in the African societies. If I harm or hurt you, again, we come back to how do we sit back, because in our society there is no one to throw away. How do we bring someone back to justice, which is restorative? How do we get you to compensate me for the wrong you did to me without breaking that relationship? Because relationships are very important in our society. So as we talk about our faith values, we also have very strong African values, the Ubuntu, the community, the sense of belonging, the sense of identity. How do I make you feel you belong? You know, how do I give you what I think is yours or you deserve and what is fair to you? So those are the values we need to cultivate all the way as we bring up our children, to value community, to value belonging, to value respect, even for elders, and the elders also demonstrating respect and showing the way by example to the younger ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct, Doctor. The nation is heading towards 2027 election, and Kenya has got a history. During election time, we have got tension all over. At times, we have seen even 2007, 1992, and when you go back, the Kenya has got a history. How do you advise the leaders, in this case, the politicians, who are aspiring to get some of these positions, seats, for example, MP, governor, senator? How would you, as a law practitioner, advise them in terms of preventing the violence?
My advice to the leaders and the incoming leaders coming is that they should try and understand the people and not just not what they need as the leaders. Second, they should also engage in policies where they can include the community to educate them, or for the leaders as well to learn conflict management skills, and just have inclusive policies where before we go to court, mediation or conciliation could be the first step.
It's also, Dr. on the same matter, because we're heading to election, and as you can hear, we've got echoes of war already drumming up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Alan, for that very, very important and pertinent question. Servant leadership is what we need. We need leaders who care for the people. We need leaders who are getting into power so that they can help in the good governance of this country. And the power of the vote, if you asked me, is what matters at the end of the day. It is our citizens who should shun politicians who are promoting violence so that they can get positions of power. We need to shun them and say, we are not going to elect you because you are a violent person, because you're cheating us, because you don't mean what you're telling us you will do. We want leaders who are genuine, who care for us, who are out to make our lives better as citizens. And I'll urge the citizens, because I think they are the ones who hold the power of the vote, to really make sure they bring to power leaders who care for them. Any leader who doesn't care for the people, they should show them the door. Because we need a country that is stable. We need a country that is well governed. We need a country that the leaders meet the needs of the people so that we can get to Singapore. Yeah.
Then on to Canaan, yeah?
Yes.
Now, Doctor, we have got something going on globally. Yes. The war is escalating in the Middle East all over. Israel's fighting Iran. Recently, America bombed Iran. Yeah. And we have seen Russia, Ukraine. And all of this starts with social violence leading to, as you said, digital through the phones. Yeah. Leading to physical violence. And we see some of African leaders and presidents have started talking or commenting about the same. Do you see like a future war in Middle East coming to Africa? Because it all starts with digital technology, as we said. Yes, yes. How do you advise our leaders to be careful with their words when this war is going on?
For me, Alan, I will start with the media. Yes. Because I have seen what the news you're giving us today. You didn't tell us about Iran and what is going on there. If you told us, you would already be, instigating us, as it were, and making us fearful and begin to think, oh, we are the next victims. Oh, things are really going bad for us. But instead, you've brought us news about the good things that are happening in this world. So media has a huge responsibility to not to spread the propaganda, not to spread hate, not to spread fear, not to make us believe the world is ending tomorrow. Instead, let them promote for us the world of peace, the world of peaceful coexistence, global peace, and those incidents which are happening here and there, let them not blow them up and begin saying Africa is burning. Because then we will begin thinking Africa is burning, and all of us will start responding and reacting to that. So I would say there's nothing new that is happening, because like you said, it's just that news are spreading much faster. But these incidents, we need to minimize them and maximize the good things that are happening in this world, so that we give hope to generations to come, and we tell them they are coming into a good world. Otherwise, if we tell them we are all perishing, then I don't think we are being good stewards of this earth God has given us. We really need to be messengers of hope and of a good future and a sustainable future for ourselves and generations to come.
Natasha, talking about violence, we cannot ignore the environment. Environment also plays a big role in our society. How does human behavior, or how do they interfere, or how do they create violence through the environment?
I'll start by saying something that a wise person always says when he talks about environment, yes. That if you close your nose and your mouth for 1 minute and see whether you'll breathe. So basically that's how the environment and conflicts relate. If we as a people are not peaceful, then we won't manage to take care of our environment, and that way the environment won't take care of us, and of course then that escalates to conflicts like water resources or fighting over land, or things like those ones.
Sure, because you have just come to an end, you can give us the last take and then we'll finish with the doctor.
All right.
Yeah.
So violence is something that is a normal thing in everyday society and everyday lives, but it is up to us as a collective society to know how to move past violence and create a peaceful society. Thank you.
My last take is that we need to move away from violence and crime to peace and positive conflict resolution. We also need to embrace our environment as one that takes care of us. So we need to take care of the environment as well. The way we are violent among ourselves as human beings is the way we've also become violent to our earth, Mother Earth, and it is not sustainable. So we need to go back to our roots. We need to rethink, we need to re-strategize and work towards the road of building, restoration, rehabilitation, not just of ourselves, but also of the environment in which we live. Sure. Thank you.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, tumekuja ama tumefikia tamati mwa mdahalo wetu. Kumbuka kuwa tumekuwa tukizamia kwa kina kabisa masuala ya vurugu katika maeneo ya nyumbani na maeneo ya kazi. Na ndani ya chumba chetu cha habari tumekuwa naye Daktari Joy Babu ambaye ana uzoefu mkubwa takriban zaidi ya miaka 40 na tajriba ya hali ya juu, akiwa ni wakili wa masuala ya familia pamoja na biashara. Doctor, thank you for making time to be with us here.
You're welcome.
Every time we call upon you, come and you always talk.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vile pia tumekuwa naye Natasha Gashiri ambaye ni wakili wa utatuzi masuala ya migogoro. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Alan.
And your contribution, we really value it a lot.
Thank you.
It enlightens our viewers. Na mpenzi mtazamaji, tumefika mwisho kabisa wa taarifa zetu za habari. Mwenzangu wa lugha ishara alikuwa ni Charity Ngima. Jina langu ni Alan Andiva na kutakia usiku mkuu wenye utulivu. Kwaheri.
Endelea kutazama Capuchin TV, kitambulisho Katoliki.
Watching Capuchin TV. For any complaints, comments, or compliments on our programming, you can either write to us on info@capuchintv.co.ke or you can call us directly on 0717 424 866. Your complaint shall be addressed within 7 days. Remember to keep a copy of your communication with us. Keep watching Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.